Good day, everyone. My name is Ms. Kate B. Paraha from BSc 4-5. These are the things I comprehend and learn regarding the remaining topics of our lesson. First is gunpowder. Gunpowder is also called as propellant or power charge, which has the mixture of chemicals of various composition designed to propel the projectile by means of its expansive force of gas when burned. There are two of the most popular individuals whose name is always attached to gunpowder discovery. These were Roger Bacon and Berthold Stewart. Roger Bacon is a Franciscan monk who wrote the De Mirabili Potestate Artis et Naturae, or on the marvelous power of art and nature. The second one is Berthold Stewart, whose real name was Constantine Anklitsen, a mysterious monk of Freiburg who, according to legend that is supported by an engraving dated 1643, that he, while experimenting on some powder in cast iron vessel, he ignited a charge and thus blew off the lid, and from this deduced the principle of containing a charge in a tube and propelling a shot. Next is black powder. Black powder is the oldest known explosive. It was initially made from saltpeter, or 75% of potassium nitrate, 15% of charcoal, and 10% of sulfur. Then, the problems encountered in the use of black powder leads to the creation of smokeless gunpowder. According to Harrison, Captain E. Scouts, the basic ingredient used for smokeless powder is a nitrocellulose that was first produced by adding a nitric acid to cellulose fiber. Later, M. Vail of French developed the first smokeless powder for the rifle in the year 1884, and he named it Poudre B, taken after Jen Bollinger's name. In 1887, Alfred Nobel invented the smokeless powder with nitroglycerin 40 and nitrocellulose 60 as the main composition and called it ballistit. Also in the year 1889, Professor Abel, a British war depth chemist, developed a smokeless powder with same composition as Nobel in the form of cords or sticks. And in early 1890s, smokeless powder had replaced black powder and became uniformly used worldwide by the year 1900s. There are three stages in manufacturing a barrel: drilling, reaming, and rifling. There are four methods on the process of making of the helical grooves inside the barrel: hook cutter system, scrape cutter system, broaching system, and button system. There are two types of characteristics in firearms. There are seven class characteristics and an individual characteristics. In class characteristics, we have bore diameter or caliber or gauge. It is the diameter to which the bore was rimmed. The distance was measured. Number of lands and grooves inside the barrel of a given firearm are always the same or equal. It may run from 3 to 8, but the most in the modern firearm are 5 and 6. Lands are the elevated portion, while grooves are the depressed portion of the bore between the lands. Width of the land in depth. The third is width of the lands is it is dependent upon the bore diameter of the gun grooves, width, and number. These are the remainders of the circumference after subtracting all the grooves. Width of the groove is measured as the shortest distance between the two dies or edge of a grooves. Direction of twist rifling. It inside the barrel of the gun is either twisted to the left or to the right, which causes bullet to rotate as it passes through the bore in order to ensure gyroscopic stability in its flight. The sixth is the pitch of rifling. It is the measure of the twisting of the lands and grooves. It refers to the measure of the distance advanced by the rifling in order to make a complete turn inside the barrel. Last is the depth of the grooves. The groove's depth, if measured on a radius of the bore grooves, are usually few thousandths of an inch deep, which equal to the height of the lance. Individual characteristics are meant for those characteristics which are being determined only after the firearm was already been manufactured. They are the product of machine imperfections and some later due to the use of the firearms. There are seven types of rifling: Steyr type, carbine type, Smith and Wesson, Colt, Browning, Whibley, and Winchester. Stereotype is the type of rifling having four lands and groups, right twist and the width of the lands groups. Carbine type rifling having four lands and groups, right twist, the width of the groups is two times the width of the lands. Smith and Wilson rifling having five lands and groups, right hand twist, the width of the land and groups are equal. Call type of rifling having six lands and groups, left twist, the width of the groups is twice to the width of the lands. Browning type of rifling having six lands and groups, right hand twist, the width of the groups is twice the width of the lands. Whibley rifling having seven lands and groups, right hand twist, the width of the group is three times larger than the border of the lands. Winchester riflings having six lands and grooves, right hand twist, the width of the grooves is three times larger the width of the lands. There are six kinds of mark that can be found in fired bullet: landmarks, groove marks, skid marks, stripping marks, shaving marks. Landmarks, marks left on a fired bullet caused by its contact to the elevated portion or lands of the bore of the firearm. It appears as slight depression or scratches the cylindrical surface of the fired bullet. Groove marks are found on a fired bullet caused by the grooves of the barrel, which is the same number as that of the landmarks. Skid marks are generally found on fired bullet from a revolver. It is more or less located at the anterior portion of the fired bullet due to its forward movement from the chamber to the barrel of the gun. Stripping marks found on those bullets fired from a loose fit barrel wherein the rifling are already been badly worn out. Worn out in the rifling of the firearms can be caused by either chemical reaction brought about by rust or through excessive use. Shaving marks commonly found on bullet fired from a revolver caused by its forward movement to the barrel that is poorly aligned to the cylinder. Next one is the slippage mark. Marks found on fired bullets passing through either an oily or oversized barrel. There are other marks that can be found in a bullet. Firing pin mark. This is the mark generally found at the base portion of the cartridge case, more specifically near center of the primer cap in a center fire cartridge or at the rim cavity of a rim fire cartridge, considered as one of the most important marks for identification of firearms using fired shell. Next is breech face mark. These are the mark found at the base portion of the shell caused by backward movement to the breech face of the lock of the firearm. Next is extractor mark. Mark that is mostly found at the extracting groove of the fired cartridge case caused by its withdrawal from the chamber. Next is the ejector mark. These are the marks generally found on cartridge case fired from an automatic firearms which is located near the rim of the case caused by the throwing of shell from the firearm to the area of shooting. Next is the shearing mark that is sometimes called secondary firing pin. That is the mark found in the primer near the firing pin mark. Next is the magazine lip mark. Marks that is found at the two sides of the rim caused by the magazine lips during the loading of the cartridge into the magazine for firing. Last is chamber mark. These are the marks mostly found around the body of the fired cartridge case caused by the irregularities of nips inside the walls of the chamber slippage marks. That's all. Thank you.